Today's Russian papers continue to discuss Donald Trump's change in tone on Russia. Moskovsky Komsomolets. The US prepares the cudgel. Having failed to seduce Putin with a carrot, America wants to persuade him with the stick. The stick in question is the draft law on the latest mega-sanctions in the US Senate, which, according to Kommersant, would impose a 500% tariff on goods imported from countries that buy Russian oil, oil products, natural gas and uranium. Moskovsky Komsomolets believes that President Trump will use this as leverage on Putin. Not that the paper believes the US president is suddenly pro-Ukraine. The current American president has not switched sides to Ukraine and will not switch sides. Trump is incapable of being on anyone's side except his own. And right now, that demands tough measures from the White House chief against Russia, or at least measures that will look tough. The US president's attempt to end the Ukraine conflict on his terms was a dismal failure. Trump received from Putin, albeit extremely politely and stretched out in time, a total slapdown. This is a medical fact that cannot be hidden or obscured. The US leader looks like a loser. For him, this is totally unacceptable. Kommersant writes that the latest statements by the White House chief, with his unusually harsh words about Vladimir Putin and his confirmation that military assistance to Ukraine will resume, has brought to an end the period of positive development of Russian-US dialogue, which began with the change of administration in Washington. And this from a pro-Kremlin commentator. The war won't end in 2025. It won't end when hostilities in Ukraine end, writes Dmitry Trenin. We need to realise that the current conflict is not about Ukraine as such. It is, for now, an indirect war by the West on Russia. And this struggle is part of a world war in which the West is battling to preserve its hegemony. This war will be long, and the US, with or without Trump, will remain our opponent. For us, this battle is not about Ukraine's status, but the existence of Russia. Now, this is very much how the Kremlin portrays what is happening, as an existential battle for Russia's future, even though, if you go back to February 2022, it was the Kremlin that ordered the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. It was not the West invading Russia. Независимая газета. The West to sharply increase pressure on Russia. Washington and Brussels have decided to talk to Russia's leadership in a different manner. Finally, Izvestia, and what sounds like a call to step up hybrid confrontation with Europe. Oleg Karpovich, vice-rector of the Russian Foreign Ministry's Diplomatic Academy, writes, if Chancellor Merz and the Coalition of the Willing are serious about laying down a challenge to us, as their latest efforts to pump Kiev with weapons suggest, we need to mobilise all forces to repel our opponents, not only through conventional means, but with hybrid methods. Our opponents are still hoping to undermine the stability and unity of Russian society and destabilise the situation in our country. Our response should be symmetrical steps, with consequences that they will be struggling with for a long time to come, as well as an unprecedented consolidation of Russian society. Some people in our country were expecting gifts from Trump and let their guard down. But life shows that we need to remain vigilant to the very end. Only once the German Chancellor and others like him understand what a real hybrid war against Russia looks like can we hope for true diplomacy that brings results.